In today's Leeds news, ex-player says Leeds should consider January sale. Leeds United weekend results. Farke won't make changes for the sake of it. This weekend's loan watch. Leeds target youth goalkeeper and Stroekens linked yet again. Morning folks, welcome back to The View for Monday morning, the 20th of October with your Leeds United news. Difficult one to get over this weekend. We had the initial match review after the game. We tried to do it a little bit differently and try and balance it out a little bit of what was ultimately a pretty negative result for Leeds United, but we'll get into some details in the fallout of that game that's come out over the last couple of days, as well as looking forward to the next match that comes up at the weekend, Friday night, for Leeds United. A tough game coming up at the weekend that Leeds need to get something from back at Elland Road. If you want to support the channel, the YouTube algorithm has been confirmed as changing and is promoting mobile content over laptop and desktop content. So if you want to see our content, the best way to do that is to hit that notification bell, become a channel member, or subscribe to the channel. But crack on today's news, and we'll start off with a potential encouragement to sell a player in January, I suppose. And former Leeds United defender turned BBC matchday pundit Aidy White believes that Leeds should consider selling Joel Piroe in January to fund other problem areas that Leeds currently have. Piroe came in late in the game against Burnley and was pretty ineffective in that match, but as it is pointed out by White and quite a lot of people, not all of this is down to Joel Piroe himself, and he just doesn't seem to fit what Leeds United are trying to do with their formation and style at this moment in time. Speaking on BBC Leeds after the game, White said that Piroe could make a move in the winter window as he's fallen further and further down the pecking order with Leeds and is very much being used as a get out of jail card for Leeds United as and when they need late goals in matches. But speaking to BBC, Aidy White said the following: with Piroe, you're not going to use him properly in this shape or formation. When it comes to January, what do? Do you cash in? Do you use that money elsewhere? He's an asset, but is he the answer? Daniel Farke doesn't seem to think so. He's not going down the route to get him involved, and Piroe can only really be used if he is played alongside another forward, and I don't think that Farke wants to do that. He might have to bite the bullet with him, and it's really disappointing for Joel Piroe in this situation because it's a system and a formation problem more so than anything that Joel Piroe is naturally doing incorrectly. Piroe at this point very much appears to just be a victim of the current shape and circumstances that Leeds United find themselves in right now. Leeds are going for that single striker hold-up player, and unfortunately Joel Piroe doesn't tick those boxes, but he is, as we all know, a very good finisher in and around the box. So how do you get him into this side? Leeds have got a tight PSR situation, if you believe the reports coming from the club, and with lack of creativity, which was again highlighted at the weekend, and Leeds will need to look at doing something to bring money in, as more reports have come out of the club in the last couple of days saying that Leeds do plan to make some moves in the January transfer window. And I think we can all agree that they definitely have to make something and do something to change what is going on in the front areas. Leeds' bigger problems at the back, but we'll get to that. But yeah, goals would definitely help ease the worrying situation around things at this moment in time. Let's move on. Let's get into the weekend results around the club. Leeds United under-18s won 3-2 away to Wolverhampton Wanderers, with goals coming from the in-form Logan White as well as Kenneth Mensah and Callum Mills. So well done to the lads there as well. And young goalkeeper Robbie Cook, who joined the club in the summer from Australian football, he made his debut for the under-18s in that match. Leeds United under-14s won the Albin Cup in the Czech Republic over the course of the weekend as well. So well done to the under-14s, and it's great to see Leeds picking up silverware at some point of the season already, and well done to the under-14s. The youth setup is looking okay at the moment, looking a bit healthier than it has over previous years, and hopefully we'll start to see some of these lads make the push through. Let's move on to talk about Daniel Farke's comments after the game and him not willing to make changes just for the sake of it. And after a disappointing game that all fans would have expected at least Leeds United to get a point from, Daniel Farke says he won't be making changes just for the sake of it. Some fans have pointed to Farke not being fully backed in the summer around moves, and Daniel Farke himself commented on not getting the offensive targets again after the match against Burnley. But with £60 million spent this summer on defensive reinforcements, Leeds' bigger issue is at the back. Leeds United have managed to bring in a brand new goalkeeper, a brand new fullback, two brand new centre-backs, as well as defensive midfield options. And Leeds currently playing with three defensive midfielders, but have conceded 6 goals in their last 3 matches and haven't kept a clean sheet since the 30th of August. Leeds' issues right now are conceding goals and shipping them week in, week out. Clean sheets mean points along the way. And although Farke isn't happy with the attacking options, these bigger issues lie at the back. But both goals on Saturday were very preventable. The first goal, Anton Stack leaving his man to score a free header in the 6-yard box. And the second being a Burnley substitute surrounded by Leeds United players and nobody making an attempt to go and press the ball, and watch the player pick his spot in the top corner. The question of Farke Wondt's involvement came up after the game again, as well as defensive changes heading into next Friday's game. But Farke had the following to say: "But that was not the problem today. So they played their part in order that we had a dominant performance and not to allow chances. And sometimes, of course, when you don't have a perfect result, everyone is crying for a change. But we don't change just for the sake of it. It makes no sense when you go into the details. What the centre-backs, for example, have done so far this season, then there's not really much to criticise. I think when you do actually delve in and look at the detail, Pascal Struijkens' under-hit loose pass for the second goal causes a breakaway and leads to have to get back into a defensive shape quickly. He then doesn't manage to keep up with Kyle Walker, and then a couple of passes later the ball finds its way into the back of the net. But it appears though, although right now, Daniel Farke is not planning on bringing Farke Wont in anytime soon and isn't planning on making many changes. And we could see again a situation where Farke says to the 11 that started against Burnley, go out again at the weekend and start again and try and fix things and prove that this was a one-off. But Leeds will be running out of matches if they keep doing that along the way, and Farke will have to look a little bit more critically at his defensive setup to stop Leeds United conceding goals. And Leeds have conceded a lot of goals this year off of very few shots conceded, as well as Leeds having plenty of shots but very little quality. Leeds managed 4 shots on target of the 19 shots at the weekend, and of those 4, most of them are pretty easily saved by the goalkeeper as well. So Leeds haven't really created any clear-cut goal-scoring chances against Burnley. They have in previous weeks and haven't taken them, but against Burnley, the lack of creativity was a major option there, and Daniel Farke may have to look at things a little bit holistically. He's played Scott Parker 3 times now as Leeds United manager, yet to beat him and yet to score against him as well. And Leeds will have to stop goals going into back and get back to what they did against Everton and Newcastle early in the season, where they were more aggressive and more defensive minded. Maybe that needs to be the reset that's needed. Let's move on and get into this weekend's Loan Watch. Joe Gelhardt started and scored in Hull's 3-2 win over Birmingham at the weekend. Joffrey scored a 93rd minute goal to give Hull a 3-1 lead at that point before Birmingham grabbed one back late on the 96th minute, but Hull ran out 3-2 winners. Isaac Schmidt missed out on Werder Bremen's 2-2 draw away to Heidenheim, along with Max Verber. Both players out injured, and Verber not expected back on the pitch for several weeks to come just yet. Charlie Crew was back in the Doncaster Rovers squad for their 2-1 home loss to Northampton, but he didn't manage to get on the pitch. It was an unused substitute in that game. Larry Ramazani plays against Alaves tonight, or I should say Valencia play Alaves tonight. Ramazani is not expected to be involved. He's expected to miss out with a quad injury. He'll hope that he can get back from that maybe in time for this game. Mateo Joseph, after registering his first assist of the season just before the international break, has now logged his first goals of the season, scoring twice off the bench for Mallorca. 2 decent goals. One was a tap in, the second one was a very good running goal where he found the far corner. Let's move on and talk about a youth keeper. According to reports in France today, Leeds United are keeping tabs on a player who shone during the Under-20 World Cup. According to L'Equipe, they claim that Leeds United have made contact with 20-year-old Lisandro Olmeta about a move to West Yorkshire. The report states that this signals the end of Milan Melier's time at the club, as if we didn't know that was happening anyway. But it does show that Leeds have more intent to move him on this January. Olmeta is currently on loan at Brescia, so no imminent move for the goalkeeper is likely to happen. It's more likely that if there's any credibility in this report, that it'll be a youth signing in the summer for him, should they decide to go down that route. But Olmeta is a very highly rated young goalkeeper and was a standout for France during the Under-20 World Cup as well. Some of the Leeds were said to be watching players at during that competition as well. So another goalkeeper that Leeds are keeping an eye on further down the line. Let's move on to the final story of today, and this is a transfer rumour that just keeps on popping up, and maybe there's some slight more credibility to this one than others that have been floating around in recent weeks. And a name that is becoming more familiar to Leeds United supporters is Mario Stroekens, and Leeds have been linked with moves for Stroekens during the last 2 summer transfer windows, and some reports claim that Leeds United did try to bring the Anderlecht attacker in during the final week of the summer transfer window, especially in a day that some more information has come out that Leeds did try to get Emi Buendia but Leeds wanted him on loan, where Aston Villa wanted him to be sold, and Leeds decided not to make a move for him at that point. But Stroekens was also another one that was named as a potential number 10 option for Leeds United in the summer. Stroekens is labelled as one of Anderlecht's most exciting young talents, and the 21-year-old is expected to move on from the Belgian club in the next couple of windows. Stroekens, at a very young age so far, 21, has managed 5 goals and 7 assists in 39 games. For Anderlecht, he's clocked up 2,564 minutes, so not a bad return for a young player at that point. And Stroekens can play out wide if needed, and can also play as a number 10 in his preferred position, and it definitely does tick some of the boxes if you look at the 49ers recruitment portfolio over recent windows. Under 28 years of age, can play in multiple positions, and Leeds need a number 10. Leeds need number 10 or more attacking options. And as I say, there have been some rumours coming out of the club over the last couple of hours and yesterday afternoon as well that Leeds United have had talks about potentially making moves in January. And I think we can all agree, if Leeds want to sort out some of the issues that they've got right now, they are going to have to dip into that January market. They may have to sacrifice somebody else along the way. That might go back to AD White's original point of moving someone they've got, moving somebody on in a position where they've got multiple options. These have got 4 strikers if you include Harry Gray in that. They're really, really lacking on right-hand side wingers and number 10s at this moment in time. So something they're going to have to look at. And hopefully if they do decide to make moves in January, they do it early and get it done and dusted, and then tell us, we've got our player in, we're done. We can move on then in January and focus on the football. Folks, that'll be it for me today. We will be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. We'll have the podcast out tomorrow night as well, as we look back at the Burnley game and ahead then to the game coming up this weekend as well. We can check that out tomorrow night. Outside of that, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.